الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد. طيب, last class we stopped on the conditions for fasting Ramadan to be obligatory on a person. So, meaning some people, fasting Ramadan might not be obligatory on them specifically. So a person has to meet certain requirements in order for us to say it's obligatory for you to fast Ramadan. طيب. And if it's obligatory on a person to fast Ramadan, what does that mean Islamically? Wajib is the translation of obligatory. They're supposed to do it. If we say they're supposed to do it, it applies to the sunnah too. We're supposed to do the sunnah, right? They have to do it. They're sinful. It means that if we say something is obligatory, that means if we don't do what's obligatory, it's a sin on us, right? Because if we say we're supposed to do it, we have to do it, we use those terms to mean a lot of things, right? Like in English. People say all the time, you gotta do this and you gotta do this, you're supposed to do this. We had to, but what does that mean Islamically? Meaning if I don't do it, it's a sin. If we're saying if I don't do it, it's a sin, that equals obligation, wajib. Okay? So these are the conditions for it to be obligatory for a person. And I think we did do these. It's 4 conditions. The first one, does anybody remember? The person has to be Muslim, Islam. So, meaning, who is it not obligatory on? The non-Muslim. طيب, the second one, al-bulugh, wal-bulugh. Bulugh is puberty. Yeah, puberty, to be specific. That they have reached puberty, not necessarily reached the age of puberty, because the age, if we say the age of puberty, that could vary from person to person, right? From person to person, was normally the age of puberty could vary between men and women, and it could vary from country to country and from different parts of the world. So, meaning if a child has not reached the age of puberty, then what? It's not obligatory. We gotta make sense just in the hukum. And if it's not obligatory, that means if the child that hasn't reached the age of puberty did not fast, then it's not a sin on that child. Clear? Which does not mean we shouldn't be encouraging our children to fast. It doesn't mean that. But we're talking about when we get to the bottom of it. طيب. The next condition, number 3, wal-aqlu, that a person has their sanity, they're in their right state of mind. طيب. And the 4th one, wal-qudra alayh, that a person has the ability to fast, right? What does that mean? They have the ability to fast.
Like if they are like sick or take medication, or if a sister she not.
Hold on. Let me ask again. What does it mean that a person has the ability to fast?
That they can do it.
They can do it. They can do it. You sit down till I catch it. They're healthy enough to do it physically, that their body can stand it, because there's some difficulty in fasting for sure. But some people can't stand the difficulty. Some people can't deal with it. Like physically, they can't take it. طيب. The next, moving on. قال رحمه الله فمن عجز عنه لكبر أو مرض لا يرجى زواله أفطر. Now this is an issue where there are people who they're not able to fast this year, and they're not going to be able to fast next year. Okay? And there's 2 types of people. The first person, as we say, the elderly. Right? Not me, it doesn't mean, what's elderly, y'all? How old is elderly? 60? 50? Huh? 60 and up. طيب. MashaAllah. Allah give us age and on Tawheed and obedience? 70? I mean, all right, either way, let's just use a number that we're not going to differ on. All right, somebody's 90 years old. Okay, if they 90 this year, the next year they're going to be even older. So if they couldn't fast now due to their age, then more than likely next year they're not going to be fasting due to their age again. All right, which means for the rest of their lives they're not going to have the ability to fast. All right, this person is missing the ability to fast. They have all the other requirements, but they don't meet the fourth requirement, which is the ability to do it. That's one person. Or the next person is the person that has a sickness that's not curable, right? That sickness can't be cured. It's not like you get the flu for 7 days and then you get better. You had a stomach virus for a few days, 3 days, and then you get better. Not those people. Everybody clear? There's a person who has a sickness that's not curable, meaning they're sick now and they're going to be sick. Okay? These people, of course, they can break the fast. They can break the fast. They can break the fast. They can. Right? Why do we say they can?
Because they don't got the ability to.
Saying that they can break the fast also implies what, though?
That they should.
They can break the fast. They don't have to break the fast. It's possible a 90-year-old can fast. Everybody clear? And it's possible a person with an uncurable disease can fast. So we're not saying that they obligatory to break the fast for them. They can break the fast though. They're 90, their body can't stand it, they can break the fast. Right? And if that's the case for these two categories, they do two things. وَأَطْعَمَ عَنْ كُلِّ يَوْمٍ مِسْكِينًا مُدَّ بُرٍّ أَوْ نِصْفُ سَاعَةٍ مِنْ غَيْرِهِ. That they're going to feed a person for each day of Ramadan that they break the fast. Okay, this is for the people who what? This is for who is this for, y'all? So that we clear. More specific.
The people that don't have the ability to.
The elder who doesn't have the ability to fast, and more than likely they're not going to have the ability next year. That's the first person. And who else? The uncurable, the one that has a sickness that's not a curable sickness or disease, right? And with that sickness, they might have to take medicine 3-4 times a day, whatever the case may be, that they constantly have to be intaking something to treat the sickness, all right? Those are the people who feed, right, for every day that they miss, and they don't make up the fast. Because I heard it was sisters thinking that because they're pregnant, they don't have to make up the fast. The people who are sick, if we get sick during Ramadan and we heal, we owe those days. Okay? The people who don't owe days are these two categories of people. The older person who's not going to be able to fast because of their age. If they're 90 this year, they're going to be 91 and on and on. Right? So if they can't fast, then more than likely they're not going to be able to fast, right? So they don't have to make up the days. And the person who has an uncurable sickness, right? It's not curable. They're not going to get better. So they don't have to make up the days. Clear? The question is always, when you feed a person, whatever the case may be, you should be feeding as it says, you should be feeding a fasting Muslim. All right? You should feed a fasting Muslim. The next issue. These are the conditions for the fast to be valid. شروط صحته ستة. 6 conditions for a person's fast to be valid. Okay? So we're talking about ourselves. We got to apply this to ourselves. We shouldn't take these and look at people and then see if they match up. Right? We take them and we put them on ourselves and make sure we matching up to make sure our fast is valid. Number 1, take a wild guess. A Muslim, got to be Muslim for the fast to be valid. Sometimes, do non-Muslims fast Ramadan? All the time. They say, what? I'm going to fast with y'all this year. Right? And they may fast and they may get some benefit. They may get some benefit. But for the fast to be a valid fast that counts towards the worship of Ramadan, if you want that day of fasting to count towards the worship of Ramadan, that they have to be Muslim, And that should be an encouragement for them just to take the shahada so it counts. طيب, al-Islam. Number 2. وانقطاع الدم الحيض. Number 2 is for our sisters. In order for her fast to count, the sister who was on her mens, when her mens, in order for the fast to count for her, number 1, is the woman on her mens is fasting?
No.
No. Can she fast? Huh?
No.
Some say yes. Can she fast? See, the sisters need the mic. Sisters, can a woman fast on her mens? No? We're not talking about praying. Oh, y'all discussing amongst yourselves. All right. That's cool. Pay attention. This is the next question. A sister might feel like, because you do know, if we don't know, brothers, the mens changes the body, so she might be weaker and all kinds of stuff happens. So, but everybody's different. She might feel like she has the strength to fast, though. For the woman who feels like she has the strength to fast Ramadan, is it allowed for her to fast? La. The woman on the mens cannot fast. Even if she feels like she has the ability to do it physically, it won't count.
Is it because fasting is an act of worship?
It's because of the hadith of Aisha. They were commanded to what? Make up the days of fasting, not make up the days of the salat. That the woman on the mens doesn't fast at all. That's not even an issue here, y'all. Let's get to the real. The issue is at the end of those mens. At the end of the mens, when can she begin fasting? When the mens blood stops. Everybody clear? When the mens blood stops. Y'all with me? Which means she can fast without doing what? Making the ghusl. She can fast without making the ghusl from her mens. Why? Because in order for the fast to be valid, the blood has to stop. Once the mens blood stops, okay, she can the fast will be valid. We're not saying anything else. That's it. Sister might say, well, I didn't make my ghusl. Is my fast valid? Well, it depends. Right? That day depends. On what? When did the blood stop? And when does the blood need to stop for her day to be valid? For that day to be valid for the woman who comes off her menses, for that day of fasting to be valid, meaning she made her niyyah and she began fasting, when did the blood have to stop? Before the adhan of Fajr, because fasting begins at the adhan of Fajr. Fasting does not begin at the sunrise that they show on the news. Every morning on the news it says sunrise here, 7 and whatever time. That's not what we fast off. We fast off the adhan of Fajr. Clear? So that means for her, the blood would have had to stop before the adhan of Fajr. If it didn't stop before the adhan of Fajr, that means she bled into the next day. Once she bled past the adhan of Fajr, there's no way for her for that day to count. Why not? Because the fast begins with the adhan of Fajr. And if you didn't fast from the adhan of Fajr, that means there's a portion of the day that you didn't fast. And that's not allowed. Ramadan is the fast from the Lord Fajr Thani. We're going to get to that. Tayyib. The next person, or the next one, is also the postpartum blood has to stop before she can fast. All right? We know postpartum. Anybody not know postpartum? What's postpartum shit? Yes. After birth. After birth, that a woman bleeds after birth is the postpartum blood. That blood also has to stop, right, in order for that day of fasting to be valid. The mens blood, yes. The first condition, the person has to be Muslim. The second condition is that if a woman was on her mens, that the mens blood had to stop. The third condition is that if she had a baby, that the postpartum blood, also postnatal, I think it is. Postnatal or postpartum, sister? Both? Tayyib. After the birth, the blood after the birth. Tayyib. The fourth condition for the fast to be valid. We're saying valid, we're not saying wajib. We're not saying it's obligatory. We're saying for the fast to be valid. Okay? It says, at-tamyiz. At-tamyiz is that word in English that always says discernment. Discernment. You ever read that? Looks like discernment, but it's discernment. طيب. Does anybody know what that is?
No, I don't.
Tamyiz. Discernment is not puberty. See? Tell them again, sister, because they... Geez, 7 years old. By the age of 7, the ulama say that a child has reached the age of tamyiz. Tamyiz, which basically means at that point, the child is able to distinguish right from wrong. Right? So at that point, if they're able to distinguish right from wrong, they're saying that, okay, at that point, a child is able to make a clear intention to do something. Because you need an intention to fast. Right? So they're saying before the age of tamyiz, which is before 7, they're saying that the child is not able to do that. What is that based on? Based on the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ when he said, command your children to pray at 7. Right? Start giving them the command. Not that it's obligatory for them to pray at 7, but start commanding them to pray at 7. And they say that the same. They say the tamyiz, at that age, which is 7, is the age where, okay, a child has to be at least 7 for the fast to be what? Valid, not obligatory. Meaning if your 5-year-old is fasting, then what?
It's not valid.
Why is it not valid?
It's not because
They didn't reach the age of tamyiz. They didn't reach the age of tamyiz. And if they didn't reach the age of tamyiz, then they don't have an intention. They're not able to develop an intention to do the worship. Clear? Tayyib. So when the child, I'm going to just say 7, but the word is tamyiz or discernment. It says once a child reaches the age of tamyiz, فَيَجِبُ عَلَى الْوَلِي الْمُمَيِّزِ الْمُطِيقِ لِلصَّوْمِ أَمْرُهُ بِهِ. It becomes obligatory when a child reaches the age of 7 for the guardian to instruct the child to fast. Is it obligatory for the child to fast?
no.
It's not obligatory. But they're using the hadith about the salat and they're using it for fasting. And all of the scholars do not agree with that, but according to the opinion of the author. And he also used the last part of the hadith for fasting. وَضَرَبُهُ عَلَيْهِ لِيَعْتَادَهُ. And also the hadith says when they turn 10 about praying to do what? They're saying the same thing about the fasting, even though in both cases they may have not reached the puberty yet, but it's that to get the child accustomed to fasting. And the hit, when you're talking about hitting, it should never be a hit of like a what do you call it?
Violent.
It should never be a violent hit. You should never be violently hitting the child at 10 years old to pray. It's not that type of hit. And the type of hit that was described is if you take a siwak that you clean your teeth with, something light. You're getting somebody's attention, like you're getting their attention, you gotta pray, yellow. Don't just sit there. If you see me praying, if I'm in the house and I'm praying and you see me praying, you get up and you pray with me, right? You don't let them sit there on the game. Don't let them sit there on the phone and you pray the whole, and then they sit there and no, the wali, the guardian, brother, the guardian. I'm not saying nobody would say this, but I'm saying you married to a sister, is children in the house, they're not your children. They're not your children. So you're not going to command them to make the salat? Right? You tell them to pray. The guardian is to tell the child to pray. The guardian is to do the same thing with the for fasting.
Does that still apply to the age of mukallaf as well, or is it like
As far as what? Mukallaf is different from tamyiz. Mukallaf means that a person is baligh aql, that they reached puberty and they have their sanity. That's one thing. We're not talking about them. We're talking about the child that reached the age of 7. They didn't even reach puberty yet. And this is for their fast to be valid. That is valid, meaning it's going to count for them as a day of fasting. The 5th one, al-aqlu, that a person is in their right state of mind. They have their sanity. state of mind is not always insane. All right? State of mind, when we talk about the aql, a person has their intellect or something like we say them words, it doesn't always mean that a person is insane or crazy. All right? There's three different types. A person could be asleep. Are they in there? Are they in the? No. Right? But they're not crazy. They're not insane, but they're sleeping. Right? So the next issue is you have a person that's sleeping. You have a person that, as we say, they fainted or they passed out. They lost consciousness. And then you have a person who did. They lost their sanity. They lost their sanity. Three different types of people, right? All right. It's possible, y'all. And this is the next issue. If a person made their intention to fast, right? And the intention to fast, in order for the fast to be valid and count, you have to make your intention to fast when?
The day before.
Again, the day before?
Well, before, yeah, the day before, like before Maghrib.
Well,
Before Fajr, my bad.
before Fajr. Before the adhan of Fajr. Meaning when we break fast tonight, inshallah, you want to make your intention to fast tomorrow. So you have once we break fast, you have all night to make your intention to fast tomorrow. But it has to be done. Your intention has to be done before the adhan of Fajr. Once the adhan of Fajr goes off, you didn't make your intention to fast, that day is not going to count. Why?
Like the intention wasn't to fast.
The intention was to fast, but it was after the adhan of Fajr.
So you missed some time.
You missed some time of the day. You missed a portion of the day that has to be fasted with intention. So the intention has to be made before the adhan of Fajr. All right? A person made their intention, and then, you know how it is. Maybe they work overnight, they work a job, they just tired, they slept all day. They woke up just a little bit during the daytime. They slept all day, they woke up a little bit, right? Next thing you know, it was time to break fast. Allahu Akbar. Huh? Does that count? They made their intention. They slept. They slept all day. They woke up shwaya. They woke up a little bit. They woke up a little bit, right? And then it was time to break fast. That person, the fast, fadlan. Wait, so now. Hold up, Sheikh, hold up. We're going to come back to that. They woke up, right? During the daytime. They made the intention, right? Did they eat anything? Did they drink anything? They slept. Sleep is normal. They was tired. They slept. That day counts for them. As long as they woke up a part of the day, right? It wouldn't count if, when we get to the next two groups, a person loses their intellect though, like they lose their sanity, right? If they slept all day, it wouldn't count. I'm sorry, I might have confused y'all. We know the three people, right? The three people are the sleeping person, the person who fainted or passed out, lost consciousness, and the person who lost their sanity. It's possible two things happen with all three people. They could sleep the entire day, or they could sleep most of the day. The entire day meaning they slept the entire day, they didn't wake up at all. Part of the day means they could have slept majority of the day, but they did wake up for a little minute. They woke up part of that day, right? Everybody with me? Those are the two cases. The sleeper, the person, as long as the intention is made, the person slept all day, it's still going to count. Sleep is an aada, it's normal. That's a normal part of the life, sleeping. Person works overnight, and don't think only about right now, because it's times when Ramadan we break fast at 4:30. It's time we break fast at 4:30, and right in the wintertime. So let's just use a short day. We start fasting at 6 o'clock in the morning. We break fast at 4:20. I'm just using it. Sister works overnight in the hospital, emergency room. Brother works overnight, working. They come home. They eat sahur, prayed, and laid down. They woke up at 5 o'clock. Possible? If you worked overnight, you know this. If you never worked overnight, you might not know about this, right? It's fine. Wait, so I'll tell you, Captain. What's up, shit? If you worked overnight, right? That day counts for them. Sleep is a norm, a part of life. Now, what's outside of the norm is fainting and losing consciousness. That's not part of our normal daily life. We don't just walk around people fainting, right? And losing a person's intellect, sanity. Those people, if they do that, they lose their sanity or they faint, they're unconscious all day, it wouldn't count for them. The one who lost consciousness and the one who lost their actual sanity. But if the one who lost consciousness and lost their sanity, if they did wake up in a part of the day, then that day would count for them. If they woke up part of the day, meaning what? They set their intentions to fast, and there was a portion of the day that they did wake up and fast. They didn't do anything that broke the fast. Clear? Allahu Alam. Tayyib. The sixth thing, and this coming back to what the Sheikh said, An-niyya min al-layl li kulli yawm wajib. It says it is obligatory to make your intention every night, saying night, every night, which means it has to be before the adhan of Fajr. The adhan of Fajr starts the day. So the intention has to be made every night. They say why? Because they say every day is a separate act of worship. And every act of worship needs an intention, yes.
I got a question. I got a little bit sidetracked. About the person that sleeps.
Yes.
Right? And you said he wakes up a part of the day.
Yes.
And his fast is separate. Correct?
Yes.
But what if he doesn't pray?
Yeah, I think the same thing.
A good question. A person slept all day. Pay attention. Islam is a ni'mah. The person slept all day, right? Which means, like he said, that means he didn't fast. That means he didn't pray. He says, so if his fast counts, what about he didn't pray? What are we going to say about that? Gotta be, huh?
I think the fast is not invalid because the prayer is part of fast.
Say it again.
I think the fast would be invalid.
Mm.
So I'm not 100% sure. That's why I asked the question.
Pay attention. The person was asleep. Do they have an excuse for missing the prayer? Khalas, easy. It ain't like they missed the prayer. They was up all day not praying. They were asleep. And the Prophet ﷺ said, when you sleep, what you do? You make it up when you remember. So when they get up, they pray whatever they missed. And the fast will still be intact. Wait, sit down to it, kids.
You mentioned the example you gave was if Maghrib was at 4:20 and he woke up at 5.
Yes.
Wouldn't he have missed iftar at that point of time? Would that still be valid? Is that still the same if you're not breaking your fast all the time?
It's still valid. Why? The fast is fine as long as you don't break your fast too early. Breaking your fast later than the time is not going to be an issue as far as affecting the validity of your fast. So if it was time to break fast at 4:30 and you broke fast, you actually drank water or ate a date or whatever at 4:40, alhamdulillah. You didn't break too early, but if the fast, if the fast is at 4:30 and you broke fast at 4:25, right? Now that means, just for numbers, it's 5 minutes of the day that you didn't fast. That's a problem, okay? Wallahu a'lam. Tayyib. So making the niyyah, the intention, before the adhan of Fajr. Before the adhan of Fajr. Everything after Maghrib is the nighttime until the adhan of Fajr. So we make the intention. He said it's obligatory to make the intention before the adhan of Fajr in order for the fast to be valid. And some of the scholars hold the position, like the brother mentioned, he said, some of the scholars hold the position you can make one intention at the beginning of the month for the entire month. Wallahu alam. Which one is the strongest? But those are the two positions that the ulama hold. Tayyib. The next issue is, how do you make your intention to fast? And making the intention is easy. فَمَنْ خَطَرَ بِقَلْبِهِ لَيْلًا أَنَّهُ صَائِمٌ فَقَدْ نَوَى. Whoever, as we say, as long as you, meaning after we pray Maghrib or after the adhan of Maghrib, once it comes to your mind or in your heart, you intend tomorrow I'm fasting for Ramadan, khalas, that's it. That's all you need. Even if you eat and drink and everything else that you can't do while you fast and after you make your intention. Making the intention is easy. It comes to your mind, I'm fasting Ramadan tomorrow. Khalas, that's your intention. That's the first one, right? He says, or, he says, كَذَا الْأَكْلُ وَالشُّرْبُ بِنِيَّةِ الصَّوْمِ. A person eats and drinks with the intention to fast, meaning the fact that you actually woke up, or even if you were not up. What time is there, Sahur? We're going to break on the adhan, y'all. Whenever you're in the masjid or somewhere, you should break on the adhan. Why? Because there's a bunch of phones going to go off. Whose phone is right? Huh? Use the muadhin. Let that be on whoever's calling the adhan. We all hungry. We all want to drink. We all want to eat. But you should break on the adhan and muadhin. What time is it? 22. Tayyib. What you say? Khalas. And this is an issue we do every year. Somebody's right now is going off at 20. Somebody's is going off at 22. His is 23. Let me ask you this. We got one at 20, one at 22, one at 23. Which one is safe? Safest? 23. Why? What if it's really 23 and we go with 20? We broke too early. I mean, we wasted a whole day. It's a minute. We done did all these hours. You might as well go an extra minute. Ain't gonna hurt. Inshallah. Tayyib. Tayyib. So the fact that a person gets up early in the morning, they go and they eat with the intention to fast, and that's enough for the intention. The intention is not, brothers, I hope y'all can see this. You don't have to do this for the intention to fast, brothers. You don't got to stare in the mirror and go like this. I intend to fast Ramadan today. You don't have to do that. The intention is where? In the heart. Once you make the intention, khalas, it's easy. Tayyib. And it doesn't hurt the intention to fast, the fact that, like, I might make my intention right now after we pray Maghrib for tomorrow. And then I'm going to eat food. That doesn't break my intention for tomorrow. Me eating food doesn't break my intention. Okay? Me eating food breaks what? My fast if I was fasting during the day. Eating food and drinking does not break the intention. Tayyib. It's also no problem if a person says, I'm fasting tomorrow for Ramadan, and they say, Inshallah. You fasting tomorrow? I'm fasting tomorrow, Inshallah. What is Inshallah usually? When do we usually say Inshallah? When what? Huh? When we think we're going to do something. We're not really sure. You can such tomorrow. Yeah, I'm Inshallah, if it happens, right? So what if a person says, I'm fasting tomorrow, Inshallah? No problem, as long as they're not saying it with doubt. As long as they don't mean, I don't really know if I'm a fast. If they just saying it, we say Inshallah out of barakah, seeking Allah's blessings, and we use it like that, it's no problem. As long as the person doesn't say it, mutaraddidan. خلاص وصلى الله وسلم وبارك نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. الله